Okay, let's see. Alrighty, so welcome to Skybound Prep. Today we're going to be reviewing the reading section, specifically the reading passages. Okay, so first of all, you all know this is the new SAT, and there's going to be a new critical reading section along with that. First of all, there's going to be one passage dealing with U.S. and world history, two passages dealing with history and social studies, and two passages dealing with science. And keep in mind, for the science passages, there are data interpretation questions. You'll have to analyze charts and graphs, and this is similar to the ACT science passages. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump into the passages. So, first, we're going to talk about some general approaches. And the first thing you want to do when you encounter a section would be to skim over the questions and plot them accordingly next to the line of the passage. So, for example, I have a College Board release test here, and here's the passage, and we're gonna skim through the questions. Now, as you can see in number 1 right here, this one has no specified lines, so we're just gonna go ahead and skip that. These were probably main idea questions or a summary question. So as you can see here, number 3, we encounter number 3, and it says to go to line 1 and line 65. Directly most nearly means. So what you want to do here is go ahead and go to line 1 and mark the question. Go ahead, just mark in the passage where this is, lines 1 and 65. And since it's specifying the word directly, you want to circle directly, so you don't have to spend more time going back to the question and going back to the passage when you're doing or answering the questions. And you do the similar process as you look through the other questions. 4, once again, not having a line, so you just skip that for now. 5 would be a question that relates to 4, so although there are lines in the answer choices, you just want to go ahead and skip that. For number 7, this says the main purposes of the first paragraph, which is also referring to specified lines. So you go to the first paragraph and bracket that real quick, and you'll save time by going back to that question. And in line 2, it says form most nearly means. So you want to go to line 2 and circle form, so you can not waste time when you go back to questions. And 9 and 10 are interrelated. And 9 says go to line 32. Go ahead and plot that. You should always attack a reading passage by first going to the questions, skimming them, and making sure that you plot the questions inside the passage. So it's easier and it doesn't. You save time when you go answer the questions. Now, when you read over the passage, carefully underline key information that helps you understand the passage's tone and main idea. And you want to box proper nouns, dates, and time indicators. So when you read over the passage, make sure if you see anything important, such as like a name, a chi, and also keep in mind you should read the first little paragraph here, as it gives a little context on what the passage is about. Next, you want to go to okay. As you come across plotted questions, read 2 sentences above and below the plotted area, and then answer the related question. So when we plotted, let's say, I don't know, the lines 32, a matter of urgency, we go to line 32, and you don't only want to read this line that has a matter of urgency. You want to read a little bit above and a little bit below, so you can get the general context of the question. All right, next. Once you finish reading the passage, begin answering questions that you weren't able to answer on your first run through the passage. And make sure to save the main idea questions for last. So, for example, one would probably be answered last because it asks for what exactly happened, which would be a main idea question. Okay. When you read through each answer choice for each question, it underlines 2 or 3 words for each choice that seems to sum up the general idea of the question. This is important because you can find patterns within the answers, and if there's something similar, they're most likely incorrect. So, and also keep in mind that one word in the question or one word in the answer choice can make the whole thing wrong. And for example, for number one right here, some important things to underline would be um, the character argues with another character and intrudes. And so then you would know whether or not a character was actually intruding on the home or not. And you would cross it out based on what you think happened in the passage. And again, anything that's wrong in the answer choice, even one word, can make the whole thing wrong. So half right is all wrong. Okay, so for any tone shifts within the passage can be reflected by the first and last sentences or paragraphs. If you're confused about any tone shifts that occur within the passage, refer back to the first and last sentences or even the first and last paragraphs to help you regain your bearing. So if you're not exactly knowing what's going on in the passage, first things first, you should read the first paragraph and last paragraph to gain the get what the author is really talking about, as the first and last paragraphs are a good summary of what's in the passage. And again, try to pitch yourself to the NeoCT. The entire reading section is about 53 questions and is in 65 minutes or an hour and 5 minutes long. So you have about 1.25 minutes for each question. So make sure you time yourself. So here's some question or answering tips. Read the entirety of each answer choice. Answer choices must be 100% correct to be the right answer. So even if half of it's true, then the rest isn't, that means the whole answer is incorrect. Look for words in the answer choices that make it much more likely to be incorrect. So words such as that are absolutes, extremes, and intensifiers, make sure that these answers are incorrect. And examples would be the ones listed here. As you can see, maybe every two more, all these. Now, watch out for correct information that doesn't answer that particular question. So make sure you're answering the questions based on what the question's asking and what the passage says, and nothing about your own opinion on the answer. Make sure your answer choice only pertains to the section of the passage and not like any other lines that are given, unless it's like the main idea question. And the correct answer choices that address the wrong section of the passage are wrong. So once again, anything that's outside of the text given is incorrect. And answer choices that match your opinion but don't answer the question are incorrect. So once again, opinion should not be a factor in answering questions. Questions and their answers are often similar. Use these questions to answer the others. For example, if you see different questions with multiple answer choices mentioning the isolationist nature of wolves, then they're probably the right ones. So we'll go over later a few of the practice questions in the first reading passage of this practice test, and I'll show you some of those strats. Let's see. Okay. Now, if the questions mention multiple lines, make sure to read the entire paragraph rather than just reading only 2 lines above and below, because the entire paragraph, the entire paragraph usually helps you understand what these few lines are mentioned. Or yeah, if the questions do not specify any lines, leave it for last. Just as I said, main ideas, leave those for last. And in general, you can look at these introduction, topic sentences, and first or last paragraphs to understand the main idea. Answer choices will match the main idea or tone of a specific area. If you're stuck between two, the one that most likely matches what the passage says will be right. And be careful not to let what you know from the passage get mixed up with any prior knowledge you bring to the test or info U inference. Okay. So when you're deciding between two answer choices, which will occur quite often, where you'll mark out two answer choices and there will be two more left, make sure to return to the passage and identify any words or phrases that the answer choices share within the passage. When you get between two answer choices, you usually want to see what's not said in the passage and base your answer off that. When answering man idea and tone questions, mark the tone of each answer choice. Answer choices will with tones that do not match of the passage can be marked out. So let's just say we have an article praising a certain, I don't know, movement, and it's praising obviously. So any negative answer choice would be marked out. And vocab questions are now strictly from the passage, so when answering vocab questions on the new SAT, it's often helpful to read the surrounding sections of the passage to gain context. So again, just read around the word, there the vocab word, so you can gain context. Okay, so the special case, double passages. Now, double passages occur once in the reading section, and again, we're going to use similar approaches to that of a single passage, but we're going to have some special steps. First of all, we plot the questions in both. We plot questions in both of in the answer choices, and also you want to mark which passage each question deals with. For example, passage 1, passage 2, or both. Let's see if I can find an example here of a double passage. Let's see. All right, here we go. As you can see here, double passage, passage 1, passage 2. Now, this is going to be referred as 1, this is 2, and we're going to have a symbol B, which stands for both. So, let's go to number 1, or number 42 here. In lines 9 through 17, you would go ahead and go to lines 9 17, bracket that, and this is only specific to passage 1, so go ahead and just write a 1 right here. And you would go through each one and find out which question pertains to which passage, and write down the number or B that goes to each passage. And let's see what an example of both would be. This one, number 50. The author of passage 2 would most likely respond to the discussion of the future of spaceflight in line 18 to 28, passage 1, by claiming that such a future blank. This question is referring to both passage 2 and 1, so you should mark B. So that's a new way to plot, or to go back to your answer choices to know which ones to answer first. So next, after you plot whether it's passage 1, 2, or both, you want to read passage 1 and underline and box as before, and answer the plotted questions that pertain to passage 1. Now, once you finish passage 1, answer all passage 1 questions, like I just said, and underline keywords that eliminate answer choices as before. And before you begin passage 2, look at the answer choices of the both questions that you marked. And even without the passage or reading passage 2, you can sometimes eliminate answer choices just from what you know from passage 1. Now, read passage 2 and answer its related questions. Finish both, or finish any both questions left. So, the order of answering questions would be finish reading passage 1, answering passage 1 questions, going to the both questions and marking out anything you see that you can already eliminate just by reading passage 1, and then answering passage 2 questions, and then ending up answering passage or both questions. Okay. So these are just a few short tips for the reading section. So for about every 9 reading questions, you'll have approximately 11 minutes to complete them. So keep your timing right. For the new SAT, there's no guessing penalty, so never leave a question blank. If you're having any trouble deciding between answer choices, try and have what you think the answer is in your head, and then look at the answers and match which one closely resembles the one you're thinking of. If you find yourself short on time, you can scout the passages first to determine the difficulties. You can answer them in whichever order you want. Just don't spend too much time scouting and deciding which ones to do. In general, there will be usually one fiction passage, a couple of non-fiction passages, and a historical document. Keep in mind the historical document is probably the hardest one to digest, so I'd probably do that one last. And again, watch your time. Don't spend a huge amount of time on one question. And if you're spending too much time on the question, just circle the question number and go back to that later when you have time. And again, take many practice tests and gain a feeling of how much you can spend on hard questions. So just all of this is practice these strategies and keep your timing right. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and go to the first passage of this practice test that's released by College Board. And we will go using strategies. We'll go through each one and answer the questions. So using our strategies, here we go. We're gonna look at number 1 first. Which choice best describes what happens in the passage? This is a main idea question, so we're just gonna go ahead and skip that before. And keep in mind, we have not read the passage yet, so don't answer this one yet. This is a main idea question. Which choice best describes the developmental pattern of the passage? This is also a question that does not have lines to mark inside the passage, so we're going to skip that as well. All right, number 3. As used in line 1 and 65, directly most nearly means. Now, if you haven't been on the stream earlier, I discussed how you should plot questions when they're given the line. So right now, you can see line 1 and 65. We're going to go to lines 1, and we just circle directly and mark the line, and go to 65, circle directly, mark the line 65. Continue. Line number 4. Which reaction does Akira most feel from Chi? This again does not have line, so we skip that. 5 is connected with 4, so go ahead and skip that. In the passage, Akira addresses Chi with. This does not have line either. 7. The main purpose of the first paragraph is to. We're going to go to the first paragraph, and we will bracket this. So we can go ahead and read that later when we get to this problem. Passages in line 2 form most nearly means. Go to line 2, and we're going to mark it, and we're going to circle 4. Now, okay, so number 9 and 10. 9, you go to 32, mark that. Okay. Once you plotted your questions in the passages, you can answer the ones that you've already marked. So as used in line 1 and 65 directly most nearly means. So we're going to go to, let's see, lines 1. Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Had he followed form? Had he asked his mother to speak to his father to approach a go-between? Would she have been more receptive? Keep in mind, I didn't only read this one sentence. I read a little bit down to understand the context of where directly came from, the word directly here. Then you go to 65. We'd probably read a little bit above. We have an understanding. Please don't judge my candidacy by the unseemliness of his proposal. I ask directly because the use of a go-between takes much time. Okay, so here does let's see. As used in line 1 and line 65, directly most nearly means. So does directly mean frankly? It doesn't. Frankly is not exactly what the main character is feeling, or the use of directly is here. And in context, you can use choices into the no, into the word directly to get the meaning. Asked directly because of the use of a go-between. I asked frankly because the use of a go-between takes much time. That's not exactly correct. Confidently is let's see. Akira came confidently, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Had he followed form? That's not exactly what we're looking for here. Now, without mediation, C. Let's see. Go back to number one. Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Had he followed form? Had he asked his mother to speak to his father to approach a go-between? Now, when it says his father to approach a go-between, um, it's actually exactly what we're looking for when it says without a mediation. Um, so there's nothing wrong about C. We also want to check in line 65. I asked directly because the use of a go-between takes much time. Again, go-between is used, which is also a meaning of skipping or like skipping a process, which would mean without mediation. And we can also look at D with precision. Um, let's see. I asked with precision because the use of a go-between takes much time. It's not exactly the precision does not exactly fit the meaning here. So the one that most makes sense is C without mediation. So we would answer that. Okay. Now we go to okay. Now we go to 7. The main purpose of the first paragraph is to. So first paragraph would be this. Um, you we can go ahead and read that. Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Had he found form? Had he asked his mother to speak to his father to approach a go-between? Would she have been more receptive? Um, yes. Okay. Now for number 7, the main purpose of the first paragraph is describing a culture. Are we describing a culture here? Let's see. It does mention tradition, but it's not exactly describing. So in this answer choice, describing is the incorrect answer, so we're going to cross that out. Is it criticizing a tradition? It seems that there are a few rhetorical questions used here, not exactly criticizing, and there's no harsh or negative tone used here, so we can go ahead and cross B out as well. So A and B are gone. Is it questioning a suggestion? Let's see. Would she have been more receptive? There's no suggestion that is mentioned here, and it's only asking for the first paragraph. So given that, we can go ahead and cross out that answer because the main purpose of the first paragraph is not to question the suggestion, since no suggestion was actually mentioned. And this leaves us to the last answer is D, but we already crossed out A, B, and C. But let's see why the answer is analyze the reaction. Akira came directly, breaking all traditions. Was that it? Had he followed form? Now these questions are more analytical questions, kind of like you're asking yourself why something's happening, especially when it said would she have been more receptive. That's a analytical question, so the answer would be D. And as you can see, we actually haven't read any of the passage but the first paragraph in around line 65, and we're still able to answer this question. Okay, number 8. As used in line 2, form most nearly means. So we go to line 2. Had he followed form? Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Had he followed form? Had he asked his mother to speak to his father and approach a go-between? Okay. As used in line 2, form most nearly means appearance. Well, first of all, you want to think of what a form would mean in your own head. In this situation, was that it? Had he followed form? Form would probably thinks to yourself form would probably mean probably like a procedure almost. How he followed form, how he asked his mother to speak. Um, so what are you thinking in your head right now is like your own definition. And then you go look at the answer choices and try to match that. This is for a vocab question, as seen in line 8, or as seen in question 8. So does an appearance match the definition of like a procedure? No, so that's not the correct answer. Does um, a custom is actually quite similar to a procedure, especially with the tradition mentioned in the first paragraph. So we're gonna stick with that one for now. We'll look at the other answer choices. A structure is a structure like a procedure, sort of, but not exactly. Structure is more of just it's not procedural. It's just the structure. Okay, and the nature is it nature? It's not exactly what we're looking for here, so it's not so much a procedure. So the answer would be B. So as you can see here with the vocab questions, you should think of a definition in your head first and try to match it with answer choices. Okay. Let's see. Now question 9. Why does the curator say his meeting with Chi is a matter of urgency? Line 32. Okay. Well, you probably read a little bit above. So Madame said, Akira, forgive my disruption, but I come with a matter of urgency. His voice was soft, refined. He straightened and stole a deferential peek at her face. Alright. So why does Akira say his meeting with Chi is a matter of urgency? We for this specifically we can't exactly answer it just because we have to read maybe a paragraph or two above or below. So we'll go back to answering 9 and 10 after reading the whole passage. But as you can see, we actually answered numbers 3, 6, 7, and 8 all from not reading the passage. So there's only a few questions left, and as you can tell, we actually have a general idea of what the passage is already about. So I'm not going to read the whole passage for you, but I can go ahead and just leave it on the screen for a bit, and or you can just pause the stream and we'll go back live. But I'll leave it here for a few seconds or so. This is the first part of the passage. Okay, and if you don't have time to read this, you can always pause the video and continue with the stream later. And we have the second part of the passage. All right. So after reading this passage, you would know the general gist of what the passage is about and what exactly happened. So let's go back to the questions we didn't answer after we plot the questions. So which choice best describes what happened in the passage? This is a main idea question. So given that you've read the passage, we'll look through each answer choice. One character argues with another character who intrudes on her home. He actually is quite polite when entering the home, so it's not intrudes is the word that makes this answer incorrect. So it would be wrong. B. One character receives a surprising request from another character. And in fact, that happens in the text itself. surprise is not too harsh of a word, so we're going to keep that open for now. C. One character reminisces about choices she has made over the years. This does happen, but not exactly for the being the main idea of the passage. So it's still open, but that's not exactly what we're looking for. And D. One character criticizes another character for pursuing an unexpected course of action. Um, this does not happen, or criticize is also quite a negative word, so we can cross that out. And between B and C, B would be the best answer, just because it's more broad and covers more of what the passage really is about. So the answer is B. Okay, 2. Which choice best describes the developmental pattern of the passage? So again, having read the passage, um, we can look at the answer choices. A careful analysis of a traditional practice. Um, this is not exactly correct because um, this the the passage actually talks about a non-traditional practice as there's actually a marriage proposal that does not follow procedure or form. So that's actually the opposite of what we're looking for here. B. A detailed depiction of a meaningful encounter. The encounter here was definitely meaningful, and it does happen in the passage. So again, we can leave this answer choice open. Nothing makes this answer choice incorrect. Next, a definitive response to a series of questions. Um, there were a series of questions in the beginning, but those were all analytical and rhetorical. So this answer choice is probably trying to trick you, given that you only read the first paragraph and trying to answer this answer choice. So that's incorrect. And D, a cheerful recounting of an amusing anecdote. Was this exactly amusing? It's not. It was actually quite serious and sincere of Chi. So this is incorrect. So the answer is B. A detailed depiction of a meaningful encounter. We've answered 3. Now we move on to 4. Which reaction does Akira most fear from Chi? Alright, okay. Let's see. Which reaction does Akira most fear from Chi? So we know that Akira is concerned that she will find his marriage proposal inappropriate, and as seen in like around line 65, when it says, "I ask directly between the use of a go-between, as it takes much time." So he went directly to the point. So which reaction does Akira most fear from Chi? So A, she will consider his proposal inappropriate. Um, this actually okay, we also can go to lines 63, which is above. We have an understanding. Please don't judge my candidacy by the unseemliness of this proposal, implying that she is actually scared that she will reject him, which is exactly what answer A says. But we'll see the other answer. B. She will mistake his earnestness for immaturity. Um, this is also something he may fear, but not exactly immaturity though, because there's no immaturity shown in the text. So we cannot base this on our own opinion. So B is incorrect. C. She will consider his unscheduled visit an imposition. Um, that's not stated in the text either, so we can't assume that. And D. She will underestimate the sincerity of his emotions. Once again, this is all based on opinion and not stated in the text. So A would be the most correct out of this question. And as you can see, 5 is actually in question connected to um, question 4, and it asks for the evidence on where we found this. Now, if you had read through the whole passage, you would see that I pointed out right here on line 63, around line 63, 64, 65, somewhere there, he explicitly states that he doesn't want her to judge him based on his candidacy. And what do you know? In answer C, it actually refers back to these lines, which exactly shows where we found or how we got our answer choice in 4. So the answer choice is C for number 5. For number 6, in the passage, Akira addresses Chi with. So in this question, based on reading the passage, you get a basic feeling of how Akira addresses Chi through the text, and there's multiple examples actually, as seen in like line 26 and line 31. First of all, we'll go to line 26. As he bowed, his hands hanging straight down. Bowing is a sign of respect, and in their interaction around these lines, he shows. He also calls her madam, which shows a sign of respect as well. So we'll go back to the answer choice. We generally have the tone of how he, or the feelings of how he like acted toward her. So in the passage, Akira addressed Chi with affection, but not genuine love. He does show his affection, but we can't exactly say he didn't have genuine love because we couldn't tell through the text. 6, or B, objectivity, but not complete impartiality. You can't gain that from the text either, so that's incorrect. C, amusement, but not mocking disparagement. There's definitely not mocking disparagement between the two, so that's a little harsh. So that's not right. And D, respect but not utter deference. And as I said before, you could just tell based on their interaction that he was quite respectful. And what do you know? The answer choice is D, respect but not utter deference. Okay, we answered 7 and 8 before we read the passage. And 9. Why does Akira say his meeting with Chi is a matter of urgency? So we refer back to line 32. We'll read it above. Madam says, Akira, forgive my disruption, but I come with a matter of urgency. His voice was soft, refined, he strained, and stole a deferential peek at her face. Now, given this interaction, you've already read around it, I assume. So, for number 9, let's go see the answer choices. A, he fears that his own parents will disapprove of Naomi. That's not exactly right. If in fact, actually, if you read a little bit below it, in lines around here, like 40 to 45. Normally, I would approach you more properly, but I received word of a position. I've have an opportunity to go to America as the dentist for Seattle's Japanese community. So, as you can see, all answer choices are found in the text. So, this does not does not occur in the text, so it's incorrect. And 9, or B, he worries that Naomi will reject him and marry someone else. That is not the case because it is not in the text. He has been offered an attractive job in another country. That is exactly what we just read above, as he said he would be going to America as a dentist for the Seattle's Japanese community. So that is the correct answer. C, number 9 is C. And then you go to number 10, which choice provides the evidence? This is an evidence question again. And where exactly did we find this answer choice? In line 42, 41, 42. So we go to the answer choice, and where's 41, 42? In between line 39 and 42. So the answer would be B for number 10. So that is the whole reading passage for this first passage in the reading section. I've went through the strategies for single and double passage. If anyone has any questions, you may chat on the stream and I'll try to get back to you. If not, then I can go ahead and end the stream. Thank you for your time. And if there are no questions, then I will end the stream right now. Okay. Seems like there aren't any, so we're done. Thank you.